Welcome back, everyone, to Memoirs of the Father, and my name is Alex Burnham. I'm going to be your host throughout this episode. I hope that you enjoyed our initial episode. I hope that you found some stuff that you could take from it. Like I said, I don't really predict a lot of these are going to be as long going forward. It was just kind of getting my introduction in, kind of setting the table of what my mindset's going to be, what helped develop the way that I think and look at things. And I hope that you got something from it. And we're going to keep going on right here where it is. This year, we're going to look at my senior year. We're going to pick up right where we left off and what the changes meant, the new expectations, what our goals were, how we went about them. And this is really where I start to develop a lot of my mindset because a lot of the things are going to be new to me. Even though I'm comfortable with the initial introduction to cheerleading, my role is going to be bigger. I'm going to have bigger demands, and I have to step up and understand the mindset we all do. That's a normal thing for a lot of people. I want to get into a lot of things that I did right, some of the things that I did wrong, and there were a lot of things that I did wrong, and how I grew from that and everything that goes forward. So these are going to be some things that a lot of people are going to have in common with. We're going to be talking about competitions. We're going to be talking about mindset. We're going to be talking about adaptability. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. Once we came back from nationals in 2008 and state and all that stuff, we really didn't take a lot of time before we got right back into the gym. Obviously, we were very motivated from losing. We knew what we wanted to do, and we understood that the best way to go out there and get better and improve was to go to work. There's no other way around it. So we were going pretty much every day. The guys, we pretty much demanded it. So we would have our open gyms, and then we would do other stuff on our own, or we would go over to Reedland High School at night and practice and do our 2 hours here, go over there for 2 more hours, as much reps and as much that we could get in. And they enjoyed having us over there because they were small co-eds, so having some extra guys to help spot, protect girls, give some of their girls some opportunities if you don't have as many guys, is very beneficial to both of us, and we were super appreciative of all that. Not everybody gets a chance to expand like that. We were trying to utilize the resources that we had around us. We knew what the issues were with the year before, and we were very in front of trying to overcome that, trying to make sure that those things don't happen again. Adaptability is one of the biggest keys in cheerleading. You have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to learn from your history. And I think history is one of the most important things. Never forget where you came from. Never forget the teams before you. Everything is a chance to learn a lesson. And we were trying to overcome the adversity of failing the year before. That's what the whole mindset was about. I knew that there were going to be bigger expectations on me. We had a very small senior class. We started with 5. We lost 3. We picked up 1 more. So our grand total of seniors was 3. I think we only had about 4 juniors. We were a pretty young group. We only had 4 people that had won nationals before on the team. Only 6 people that had competed at nationals. So we knew that the pressure was going to be big. What we were trying to do, we wanted to win. The kids, the people on the team, our goal was to win. We were going to do whatever it took. No matter how much time it spent in the gym, whatever it took to close those gaps, we were going to try and do that. So like I said, we're constantly on the grind. We're cheering at basketball games. The regional tournament was really good at the end of my junior year. It's a chance to go out in front of a crowd and do some stunts, do some skills, get comfortable with some new things. So the things that we were learning at open gym, we were going to the games and testing them out in front of the crowd. Because obviously there's no counts. It's just standing there doing stunts. It's one thing. But it's a chance to get acclimated to being in front of a group of people, performing skills in front of people with a little bit of pressure. It's not a competition, but obviously you don't want to look bad in front of people. So we were trying to expose ourselves to as much things as we could. And the guys, the 3 seniors, we really took kind of a lead on what this was going to be. We knew we didn't want to have the problems before. We didn't want to have the drama. We wanted to be about the work. We wanted to put it in. We only wanted to deal with the things that were going to lead to us getting to where we had to be, the roadblocks that we had to face. And for the most part, we really didn't have a lot of drama. A lot of that stuff was very contained. And obviously, we were all fired up. We all had the focus on what we were going to do. The only question was, were we going to maintain that focus throughout the entire year? Because at some point, that hurt of losing is going to go away. And when you're in the grind and when you're in the deep water, you don't always think about the reason that you jumped in to begin with. And when you're 600 miles from shore and you don't remember where the starting line was and you're somewhere out there in the middle, are you still going to swim? Are you still going to push? Are you still going to go at it the same way that you jumped in? That was going to be the question for us. And we were ready to answer the call, essentially. I mean, we made good recruiting decisions. We went and got good guys, some of my friends. We brought some people back. I mean, we had lots of people leave, come and go. That's just what it was. Some people didn't want to do the grind. And if you don't want to be here and if you don't want to be a part of it, that's okay, because we'll go to work with the people who will. Nothing against anybody that didn't want to be there, that didn't want to be a part of it. It's a big commitment. And if you can't handle the commitment, then that's fine. No harm, no bad feelings on my part. We knew what we were trying to do, and if you don't believe that you can do it, hey, that's okay. It's that simple. But there was a change in expectations. Obviously, I knew that I was going to have a much bigger role. I was going to be asked to do a whole lot more. Like I said, I was an accessory guy really the year before, but I was going to be asked to do a whole lot more this year. And it was important to me to get as many reps as I could with as many different people to get comfortable and expand. And a lot of that stuff in the early on, no matter what team you're doing, high school, college, it's very, very basic skills. Getting acclimated with your teammates, finding out who works with who's going to be able to go here. Because obviously, the more capable you are of working with multiple people, the more options that you give your coaches. It makes it so much easier to put a routine when they don't have to think about who's being paired up with who. But the goal is if you have a lot of people that are like that, it makes it so much easier to put things together. So our job was just to essentially try to make things easier for everybody and keep moving forward. That hunger and that fire. And we were making a lot of ground those first few months. This is one of the most exciting times of the season. It's about development and about growth, because once you get into the routine and you really have to focus on those elements, you don't really have a lot of a chance to expand outside of that. Because once your routine's kind of locked, like I said, you're kind of working around what you're pushing for and the goal to get to nationals. Now, our first practice of the summer, we were told by our coaches that the goal was to get second place. We were taking a step back. Obviously, there was a lot of new people. Our skills weren't going to be as good, but we still felt like we had a chance to be competitive and to win. So I felt like when they said we were going to come in second place, they were being conservative. They were, trying to keep realistic goals. But we also thought that they were doing this to light a fire under us. We were a national championship program. Yes, we're not the defending champions, but we're not taking a step back there. We're going to win. That's the goal. That was what we as the athletes decided. Our coach told us one thing, and all we had to do to change that opinion was do what we were supposed to do. Put ourselves in the conversation, which there was a lot of us that didn't know. But we understood the basics. Hit your skills, hit your routine, perform at a high level, do the things that you need to do, leave all the bullshit at the door, and come to work. It was that simple. That's what we were going to do to make the progress. And a lot of that stuff during the summer, like I said, it was just working on these skills, getting comfortable, opening up your versatility, making yourself as adaptable and as useful and serviceable as possible. That's the goal. You want to have a successful career in cheerleading, be able to do a lot of things with a lot of different people. That's the key. Don't limit yourself and just be a stunner. Work on your tumbling like I did. Work on your stunts and being better and more consistent like I did. But I will warn you of this, because this was a problem, and it's going to be a problem for me throughout this whole year. You have to understand the process. The process is you understanding the way your stunts work. Not just doing them, not just hitting them. I was hitting things out of repetition. I didn't know the things that I could do wrong. I just knew I was doing this right, but I didn't really know. I just knew, hey, this is what I'm doing right. And I'm just going to keep doing that over and over and over again. I'm trying to overextend myself and do too much. I'm working a lot. I'm spending a lot of time in the gym. I'm almost 7 days a week doing this, because that's, in my mind, that's what it takes to get better. But at some point, you have to rest your body. I wasn't doing those things. I was just grinding. And I was trying to play catch up. When you try to play catch up, when you look to the things that you think are right, you sometimes ignore the things that you're doing wrong. And when you play catch up, you're trying to get as many skills as you can, but you have to make sure that you've mastered and that you are comfortable with the skills that you're doing. I didn't always do that. I was concerned with trying to be the best guy on the team, to try to be as competitive and try to be up there as possible. I should have let myself take some time and develop my skills and be comfortable with them, be confident in them, not just I can do this and I can do that. I hit it one time and move on. Grind it. Make sure that you can do it till you can't ever make a mistake on it. Those are things that I wasn't necessarily doing. I mean, on my basic skills I was, because that's what we were doing at practice. We were working these things all the time when we were tired. We had been relegated to this place called the Blue Building. That was going to be our new practice area for the year. The Blue Building this place is disgusting. It's bare bones. There's no heat during the winter. There's no air conditioning during the summer. You go in the bathroom, there's a urinal, and then there's like a hole in the wall where a urinal used to be. The water fountain tastes like rust. There's no ceiling tiles. It's just nasty, green, dirty insulation. It is bare bones. But to us, it kind of suited what we were trying to do. strip away the privilege, strip away the title, strip away the blessing, strip away the easy environment. I get a little emotional about it because it was really dingy. I mean, they don't practice there at all anymore. But that place and the environment and the tone that it set is very unforgiving. You had to be a lot more focused. It wasn't a comfortable environment. And I definitely think that that was very essential to what we ended up accomplishing that year. It's a lot harder when you're soaking in sweat, when you've changed shirt 3 times, when you're sweating through your tape, when you get hot and irritated, when you're freezing cold. Putting yourself in harsh conditions, because you never know kind of what it's going to be like. You know, you get to nationals, you're going to practice outside. You don't know what the environment's going to be like all the time. You can't control the weather. You know, you strip away that and just focus on the love of the game, on the love of the skills, on putting yourself in a situation where you have to overcome adversity just from going to practice. Not even just the skills. It's another layer, another test. And I enjoyed that a whole lot. That's something I didn't have the year before. So a lot of people will complain about not having this and that. At the end of the day, you don't need anything. You just need a roof and some mats. I don't need privilege. I don't need to feel special. I don't need special treatment. I just need the opportunity. And for us, that place was the opportunity. And a lot of things were going really, really well. Like I said, I was involved in a lot of stunts. I was involved in the Pyramids choreography camp was great. The UK clinic that we did again that year, that was awesome. I really made a lot of improvement. I didn't learn a lot of new skills at the camp, but I was able to do a whole lot more than what I had before. I was 3 8-hour days. We stayed in the dorm rooms just having fun with the friends and the guys, building up our bond, being more comfortable with each other, really establishing that reliability of that team. Because like I said, you don't all have to like each other. You don't all have to love each other, but you all have to be capable of working. And when you go to those environments and you go on those trips and it's just focusing on your team and what you're trying to do, getting away from home and getting away from the distractions, it's a really great opportunity to grow as a team. And we did just that. So everything was going well. We'll go to choreography camp, and it's the same. They give me a lot of responsibility. I was in all the tumbling. I was in all the pyramids and all the stunts. I was in the cheer stunts. Even during the cheer pyramid, I was tumbling. So like from start to finish, I didn't really have a break during this routine. A big step up from what I'd done the year before. And I was happy that they looked at me and saw that I was somebody that was doing that. That to me, that solidified that the work that I'm making, the progress I'm making, there's some faith in me. And you know, at the end of the day, I don't really care what I do. I want to do the most that I can to help my team, but ultimately my job is to do what my team asks me to do. The biggest rule in cheerleading was always catch your top girl. Protect your top girls no matter what. They are putting their bodies in your hands, their trust and their faith. You have to protect them. Because obviously, if they don't feel safe, they're not going to be able to focus 100% on what they do, and it's going to make it difficult for you to get better. But they're taking a lot of chances. The same way with the guys. If I'm studying with a new girl, your job is to be tight and do what you're supposed to do. Trust me. Don't flail your legs. Don't bend. Don't swing this. Don't get crazy. Don't kick me in the face. Have faith in me, and I'll help you out where we need to. It's okay to make mistakes. Like I said, the goal is to catch people, keep them safe, no matter what. If the girl's going to enter the ground, you better be pancaked underneath her. That's the story. Always protect your top girls. I was working with a new girl on the routine. We were working on full ups, and this is an example of me overextending myself and trying to play catch up. She wasn't in a position to work on it, and I was in a position where I needed to work on it with someone that was much more experienced. I had good spots. We go to do the full up. She gets about halfway. She's facing the back. I make contact with the feet, and she begins to lean backwards. She bends her knees. I can't get to her anymore. Her feet are pushing me out. Another guy steps in to grab her, but because she's not being tight where he grabs her, she bends around his arm, slingshots, and breaks her arm in half on the floor. And I'm very upset about this because I've made a mistake. And it's not like she hit the ground and she's going to be sore, but she'll come back tomorrow. I've hurt this girl really bad. And I made a promise to her right then. That will never happen again. And since that moment in 2008 to today, I have only dropped someone twice since then. Twice. In 17 years. It is a mindset. So when you get comfortable with that process, you get comfortable with stunts, you feel when things shift. I've become really good at that. I'm one of the best spots ever. And I know that. I'm not being boastful here. I can prove it. I've got the track record. I'm going to catch you. I'm going to keep you safe. And when you can keep your girls safe, They're more comfortable trying new things. It's able to expand your horizon. They can focus on the technique. They don't have to worry about getting hurt. And you don't have to worry about it because you know that you're comfortable. You know that you can keep them safe. And everything rolls so much better when there's that trust. If you can't keep them safe, you lose the trust. And without the trust, you don't have anything. But I did hurt this girl. So now I'm being taken out of those stunts because obviously she can't be in them. And they have a conversation with me because they could move me in as a senior to these other stunts. But the other people on the team haven't done anything wrong. It's not like they're struggling with their stunts. They shouldn't lose their opportunity over something that they didn't do. And I 100% understood that. At the end of the day, my goal was to win. My job is to do whatever they ask me to do. I was upset, sure, but it wasn't anybody's fault, except for not catching my top girl. I didn't want to take anything away from them. I still trusted them. Like I said, at the end of the day, I want to win, and I'm going to do whatever my team asks me to do. I'm not going to worry about what they don't want me to do. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do my job, and I'm going to be uplifting to everybody around me. I don't care where I am on the mat. I don't have to be in the center. I don't have to be in the front. I don't give a crap. Nobody cares. The only people that care are the people on the floor. I don't care at all. Nobody's going to remember where I was standing. Nobody's going to remember who did this except for the people that are on the team. Nobody else cares. I don't care who does what. I never have. As long as we can do what we're trying to do, that's all that matters to me. I am also having some problems with some injuries. Like I said, up until this point, a lot of things are going really well. I start getting some concussions. I'm going to work on a double down. This girl kicks me in the skull, rocks my world. I fall backwards. I hit my head on the gym floor. I'm having headaches. I'm getting disoriented. I'm getting dizzy. If I'm on my feet for long periods of time, I'm not doing good. I have a couple of other really nasty head bumps. I dove backwards to catch a top girl, smacked my head on the floor, hard, back of my head, clean on the mat. And at this time, we have no concussion protocol. That stuff doesn't exist. There is no, if I want to do it, nobody's going to tell me no. Nobody's asking these questions. This stuff doesn't exist. And they're also, as I'm going to the doctors, they're also giving me pain pills. Nobody knows a whole lot about head injuries at this point. It would really be a few more years later before stuff would really be implemented in major sports, let alone in what we were doing. If I wanted them, the doctor gave them to me. Like I said, I have overextended my body. I am fatigued. I have been running and going since February. 7 days a week. I'm abusing my pain medication. I never come to practice messed up ever. Not one time. Never. But anytime I'm outside of that, I'm messed up. I was dealing with the pain, the stress, the anxiety, thinking about my motivation to win, what I was putting my body through. And it's very important that you manage your body and that you take care of your body. I was not doing those things. I'm 17 years old. I think I've got all the energy in the world. I can do anything. I don't need to sleep. It doesn't matter. I can do this. You're wrong. You think those things help you, they don't. It's messing with your head. It's messing with your body. It's making you weak. It's tearing you down. It's putting you dependent on something that you don't need. And I was doing that. And I would have a lot of problems going on because of that. But for the most part of practice, you couldn't tell. Like I said, I was just managing things well. Things were going on. The summer was moving fine. The camp was going fine. The performances were going fine. The full-outs were going fine. About 2 weeks before our first competition, guy is supposed to be in a routine. We're doing a performance. He doesn't show up. He's supposed to be in those stunts. And they come up to me 5 minutes before we take the floor, and John says, "Can you do the stunts?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely I can do them." I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm not conditioned for this. I'm like, "Yeah, I can do it. What am I going to do? I'm going to tell my team no, that I'm incapable of doing this. I'll do whatever you ask me to do." And I had the best top girl on the team, Jackie Lopez. She was being recruited by Kentucky the year before. She would go to Kentucky, 5 years on Blue Squad. It didn't, if I can't do it with her, I can't do it at all. That's what I'm saying. We go out there, we have the performance. There is no warm-up. There is no, hey, go here, hey, go there. No walkthrough on the floor. This is where you need to be. Go there. That was the conversation. The music starts. Great performance. I hit everything. I'm having a great time. I'm loving it. We come back. They tell me that night, hey, this is your spot now. And you have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to overcome. Those changes are going to happen at any given moment. Things are going to shift. Things are going to pivot. People quit. People get hurt. Things change. You have to be able to adapt. The teams that win are the teams that are the most adaptable to change. Adversity comes in all shapes and sizes, in and out of practice. in and outside of your team, in and outside of your routine, in and outside of daily life. You have to be able to adapt. And at this moment, I was adapting. Things were great. Now, doing a performance is one thing. Coming back and practicing like that for 2 hours is another. I was getting my butt handed to me for a while, okay? We do that whole week of practice, and I'm dying. We have a performance that weekend, and we hit both times. And this was big because at this point, we had never had a team hit this early ever. Most of the time, we weren't really hitting until nationals. We're hitting the routine right now. And all of a sudden, that conversation about coming in second place, that starts going away. We're talking about taking what's ours. That was our motto. TWO, take what's ours. We felt like we were cursed with second place. Now we're going to use it as our motivation. That's why we put that as our motto. We believed that we were champions. We believed that we were capable of doing that. And we were adapting and we were overcoming to that. And now we've done something. Even though we've had to take a step back in difficulty, even though those things are happening, we have found a way to take a step forward and do things that other teams haven't been able to do. Our stunts are not the most difficult, but we're doing full up stags, and at this point, nobody had ever done them before. I was one of the first people to ever get to compete them, me and Jonathan Courtney. We were the first two. And today, it's like commonplace. You do those in the chair. You don't even do them in the routines anymore. But at that time, nobody did them. It was a big deal. A lot to be proud of. We go into bluegrass, and it's a great time. Now, we run into Bowling Green High School, whom was our big rival, and I didn't know anything about them. They had been banned the year before because they had performed like a basket at a basketball game on the gym floor, and that's a big no-no. They got told that they couldn't compete for the year. So I have had no experience with them, and they are trashing us the minute we come through the door. I remember everything they're saying. Now, you can talk all the trash that you want. I'm not against trash talking, but when you make things public, you're going to get a response. You're going to provoke someone. And I don't need a battery in the back of my back to do something stupid. But thank you for putting it in there. I go back and I remember, like I said in that last video, about when Sun Prairie gave us those t-shirts. And them basically indicating to us that they were not afraid of us, that they thought they were on our level. And that's what I remember when this team is opening their mouth to me. All they did was piss us off. We go back in the warm-up room, kind of a little nervy, everything's going the way it is. Kind of getting settled. It's freezing cold. You've been on a bus all day. Boo-hoo. Get over it. It's time to go. I look over and they got a guy doing a stretch. He's got someone on the ankle. He's got another guy. There's 3 people holding it and they drop it. And I'm like, oh my God. It's just blood in the water. I can smell it. And now I'm not scared anymore. I'm not concerned at all. We take this mat. And it is going on. I remember the tucks were great. The tumbling was good. We go up to the stunt and I'm like, please God, don't let me drop this. This is the biggest thing I've ever done. I remember I toss it. I remember getting the grip. I remember using my legs. I remember finishing out the control. Not too much, not too little, just right where you need it to be. Come back to hands, hit the stretch, do the double down. Everything's booming. The pyramid hits, everything smacks. The energy is great. It is electric in this building. You look out from that platform, and when we started, you just see the crowd. When we got to the cheer, and this was the first time I got to look at them once we were going, there's nobody sitting down. Everyone is on their feet, and they've come up to the floor. And the place is electric. And I look out and I see my mom. And, my family didn't get to come to a whole lot of stuff. So at that point was my biggest moment, seeing my mom is very emotional. But because things have kind of slowed down for me at this point, the adrenaline was kind of dying down in my body. And fatigue was starting to settle in because I've not had a lot of reps at this routine. I'm breathing. So I go to throw this toss chair and I throw this harder than anybody has ever needed to throw a toss chair before in their life. You only have to get it about an inch out of your hands to hit this. I launch this girl with no abandon and I drop it. And I'm like, what the this is the most easiest skill that you can literally do. And I'm just sitting there. I'm at the front of the chair, dead center of the floor. There's no way nobody saw it. And I'm mouthing. I'm mad. Mark's like, calm down. It's okay. I can see him. He's like, it's fine. He's right there on the platform. I can see him. I'm like, I got this. And the rest of the performance was fine. Everything hit. No snowball. Everything went. And I remember we hit that last pyramid and I just collapsed. I'm tired. And everybody's celebrating. They want to have a good time. I'm like, I need water. Please get me to the water fountain. Everybody, they're all talking about how great the performance was. The best we'd ever done at regionals up until that point. The mood is really great. And we've demonstrated that we're extremely comfortable with this routine. And now we're going to go do some upgrades, which is not uncommon. If you're kind of at that point where everything's peaking, you need to make adjustments, because if you don't challenge your athletes over time, they're going to start to get comfortable. And once you start to get comfortable is when you're going to make mistakes. For the moment that we can stand on our own 2 feet and walk, we continue to walk. But people still trip and fall and stumbles, and that's just people getting comfortable. You don't think about what you're supposed to be doing. It kind of becomes second nature in a way. And that happens in the routine too. But once you go through that point where, everybody has a mistake and you learn you got to stay on your toes, that's when you start hitting the peak. That's when you start having the great performances. That's when everything starts dialing in. But that only lasts for so long, because eventually somebody's going to get comfortable again. So we have to make upgrades. We have to make changes. We go through and make the changes. And like I said, December's kind of a down month. Everything's just slow. You're ready to compete. You're ready to get to that next step. And then we go to the Moorhead Showcase. This is a big deal for me. We go through a really, really rough week of practice, and now we're ready to go. We practiced with Moorhead that morning, I believe. Well, no, the night before we came into Lexington, got through the practice, throwing a basket at the end, and I feel something roll in my shoulder. And it really wasn't a bad injury, but it was uncomfortable and it was unsettling. It was a little stiff. Something I should have been able to get over with. But it's bothering me. It's freezing cold. Everything's irritated. I'm kind of psyching myself out. We had practice with Moorhead that morning. They're like, hey, what do you guys want to do? And we're like, let's go full out right now. No warm up. Let's do it. Me and Scott had been saying this all the time. And John would never let us, but Mark was like, okay, this is what you guys want to do? Let's do it. And everybody looked at us. They were pissed. There was no warm up, no tumbling, nothing. We just turned on the music and we hit the routine. So it's like, okay, they're good. We worked on some full-ups that morning, like true co-ed full-ups, trying to be the first team to compete those. And, it was great. And then we were going to go out there that night and have a performance. I'm kind of worn down. I'm fatigued. I'm beat down. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm not managing my energy very well. And there's a big gap. And you had to be prepared for that, to be able to shift and be able to focus up when you're not tired. I get in the warm-up room and my toss is not good. I'm second-guessing it. My shoulder's kind of bugging me out. I'm just really irritated. There's a lot of stress. I'm not handling it well. I keep redoing my toss because it doesn't feel smooth. It doesn't feel good. And Mark was just like, you need to chill out, because he knew I was psyching myself out. We get out there on the floor and I hit the toss lip, but it's nasty. My grips are not good. I'm having to press it. And I drop going into the transition. Everything else is fine, but I'm upset. Big time upset, because my goal is to go to Moorhead and I just dropped in front of them. I'm the only one that had a mistake. I'm the senior, and now I'm replaying everything in my head from the year before. We're a month out. You cannot afford to have mental breakdowns the way that I was getting ready to. We come back home. The next day I go to work at the gymnastics, and I'm working on my stunt the whole time, and I can't hit it. I look terrible. We have practice the next day. I think I threw it 10 times, and I dropped it every single time. And now people are starting to get worried. And John asked me, do I need to take you out? And I've not done anything to demonstrate that I'm capable of this. I have before, but not recently. And the only thing that matters is today. And I'm focusing on the hurt. I'm focusing on the negative. The reality is starting to settle in that I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know how to adapt in stunts when things don't go the way that they're supposed to. I don't know how to make adjustments. I don't really have a really good mastery of what I'm doing. Now, I haven't been doing this for super long. This particular skill, we've probably been doing it for like 4 weeks, but it's no excuse. Everybody else on the team's doing it. I'm not. And they asked me, I try again, and they asked me, do we need to take you out? And I said yes. Part of me wishes that I hadn't. Part of me wishes that I had just been stubborn and forced them to take me out, but make no mistake about it. When they asked me the question, it was one more rep, and then the choice was not going to be mine anymore. I knew that once I said that I couldn't do it, you have no choice. You have to take me out. Because if I don't believe in me, nobody else is going to believe in me. And I was upset about it. I could have thrown a fit. I could have quit. I didn't. I was still on the floor. I was still doing all the things that I was doing before. I just wasn't doing this stunt anymore. And it goes back to what I said. My goal is to win. I can throw a fit about it and I can create problems, but I'm not going to do what the people did the year before. I'm not going to be dramatic about it. I am going to do what I said I was going to do. I'm going to do what my coaches asked me to do. I'm going to do what my team needs me to do. And right now they don't need me to do this. So we just moved on. I was upset about it and it bothered me, absolutely. But at the end of the day, my goal was to win, and I didn't care how. I don't care where I am. I don't care what I'm doing. As long as I'm contributing, that's what's important to me. This is a team. I'm not going to do anything by myself. I need these people, and this is just something that I'm going to have to lean on someone else for. I hate it. It sucks. I should have been better. I know that, but I had to grow, and that moment was pivotal in my growth. We're going to go ahead and fast forward about a couple weeks later. We had the ice storm that like ravages most of Western Kentucky in January 2009. I mean, it was pretty bad. Like the whole place was turned into a winter wonderland. We couldn't get a hold of each other. We couldn't, the cell towers were down. We were kind of isolated. It took about 5 days before we could reach out to each other. But some people had already kind of left and like gotten out of the area. I mean, we were going to nationals the next week. We didn't get to do a full out until prelims. We had just kind of gone through the pieces. You know, we had to take a Greyhound down because we couldn't fly. We didn't even know if a plane could leave out. So we took a Greyhound bus and we rode it about 16 hours to Orlando. We practiced. We had the football field practice, another electric thing, another big thing. We were really trying to get everybody's eyes on us, have a great performance, do all the things that you're supposed to do when you're down there. We go through prelims, same thing. We go out, have a great performance. We have one mistake, just like we did the year before, something that we knew would hardly ever drop. And I was cool with them. I was like, listen, no big deal. We're going to be on our toes. It's just a reminder. That's all that it is. We were in second place. No big deal. We felt comfortable that if we did our job. Now, we ended up drawing last in performance order. So we're going, it's like 9:35 at night, something like that. You come into the milk house, it's just like before. You know, we're watching the other teams go, and most of the teams ahead of us have made mistakes, and we know that. Like, the door's pretty well open. The warm-up room's the same. We go through there. We're all focused, all business. I eat some nachos as soon as we get out of the warm-up room, jamming them in my mouth. I'm sitting back there behind the curtain. I followed all my superstitions. Coaches talk to us. They walk away. And the only thing that I tell my team is, like, we don't have tomorrow. The three of us, this is the last chance that we get. I love you. Have my back. I'm going to have yours. We walk out on the floor. The three seniors, we look at each other. It's kind of a somber moment. You get adjusted to the crowd. We fist bump. And I said, I'll see you when it's over. And it was a great performance. We opened up good, strong. Everything was great. We get to the stunt. The guy that replaced me, he's coming back to hands from the lip. He looks like he's in trouble. It's kind of shaking, wobbling. He smacks the stretch. Boom. We keep going. Everything's going great. We smack the pyramids. We get through the cheer. We hit the second stunt, and I am elated at this point. Everything, you can't keep me on the ground. I am jumping up. I'm going crazy. It's time. It's that moment where you feel it. It's in the air. Like when you're hitting and you're rocking that shit, you know what's going on, man. There's no stopping it. It's in the air. It's electricity. I got goosebumps on my skin thinking about it. When you remember everything that you went through all 365 days, all the adversity, all the challenges, and you're right there and you're getting it done and can't nobody stop you. We're doing that last pyramid. The basket hits. We're spinning. Tap. As soon as we tap for that last stag, I scream it out of my mouth. Game over, because we've done what we came here to do. We hit our routine, and the celebration's insane. We're partying on the floor. We go back to the back. I'm pretty confident I tipped over a Gatorade cooler. We're out of control. We're having the greatest time ever. We're watching there on that monitor, and it overwhelms you that you did it. Nobody can take away the performance from you. No matter what your goal is, it starts and ends with having a great performance, with hitting your routine. Most of the teams that come don't have a chance to win. They have different aspirations to get into semis, to get into finals, top 10, top 5, something like that. Most teams don't have a chance to win. Everybody is trying to have their performance, because you have to have a performance that matches whatever your aspirations or your dreams are. A championship team has to have a championship performance. And we had a championship performance. I mean, honestly, hitting the routine was bigger than winning in a lot of ways. It was a special feeling to look out and know that everybody did it, that we did what we were supposed to do, that everything we planned, everything we put into this has finally come to fruition. And awards were just waiting, and they go down the lines. 5th place was Bowling Green, haha. 4th place was PSC that we had brought with us. 3rd place was Brother Martin. 2nd place was Sun Prairie. And 1st place was us, Graves County. We won by 29.5 points. 29.5 points is the biggest win at Nationals since then. It's never been that large since 2009. And they come up, that UCA guy comes up to you and he said, "Hey, are you ready to get your white jackets?" And I can't repeat what I said to him because I was ready. And you go back to the castle, you go back to the warm-up room, you walk out there, and there they are, the jackets. You take them out of that wrapper, you throw them on your back, you got your gold medal, and you do the walk of the champions, and it's just you, just your team, your family and your friends waiting there clapping on you, and the reality starts to set in that you did it. You accomplished what you came here to do. You were the best. Nobody can take that from you. It's indisputable. It's undeniable. I understand that not everybody has a chance to win, but everybody has a chance to be great. For us, that definition was a little bit different. My struggles, my injuries, my brain, my mindset, to have overcome all of that and to be able to say that I am a national champion for the first time was an incredible feeling. I would have a lot of things to work on going on after this. I still wanted to cheer in college. I obviously had to fix some problems that I had. I did get cleaned up, and it didn't take long. Just made myself do it. I was tough about it. Came back, kept working on the grind, and kept looking to what was going to happen next. Because I still had demons that I wanted to slay. I've overcome them having the mistakes at Nationals, but now I want to be at the highest level that I can. I want to go to somewhere else. I want to keep this going. And I'm not going to stop till I get to be the best. And I don't care how I have to do it. Make no mistake about it. I have been an addict. Because there's no greater high in this world than going on that mat and doing what we do. That is my only addiction today. I would have more problems. I would have more struggles. I would have a lot more to learn. There were things I had to fix to begin to understand the process, to begin to become comfortable with stunts, to begin to understand the full picture of what a routine looks like. But this was the first triumph. This was the first win. This was the first step to overcoming adversity and to building a legacy that I would end up being very, very proud of. I know there's a lot of people out here right now that have similar aspirations and they have similar dreams. To be the best, to be a champion, to have a banner hanging on a wall to remember what you did, to have your picture mounted in a hallway, to have a trophy sitting in a case, to have a jacket in a closet and a ring on your finger. You got to be a little bit stubborn. You're going to be a little bit crazy. But in time, you're going to begin to understand the things the way that I do. That's all for our episode today. I look forward to doing some more. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you understand. I hope that you learned lessons. We're going to do a lot more deep dive going into this. Next time, we're going to talk about college and preparing for college, especially with college nationals coming up. I definitely want to address those things and talk about a lot of the differences, a lot of things you got to prepare for. It's a whole nother world, despite the fact that you're ultimately trying to do the same thing, but it's a much different environment. We're going to talk about how you go about picking where you're going to be, making sure that you're in the right environment, the challenges, the differences. It's a whole new world. And baby, we're just getting started. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you next time. These are Memoirs of the Father.